You'll notice that with really, really good performers, even if those notes are difficult for them, a lot of the time they'll do something weird with their face or to kind of like let audiences know that they're doing something interesting. What up, guys? It's your boy Matt from RamseyVoice.com. Real singing teacher, real vocal teacher, real vocal coach reactor. That's kind of weird. Am I a reactor? It sounds like I'm going to explode. Anyway, guys, I am so excited because today I'm going to be reacting to 13 times that Harry Styles' vocals got me shook. And I'm super excited because, as I mentioned before in my Zayn video, I was not that familiar with One Direction. I had some kids that were working on One Direction songs, but there weren't a ton of them. So I only got a chance to know a little bit of their catalog, and by virtue of that, only a little bit about each individual singer. So now that everybody's broken up, they're all going their separate ways and have their own beautiful solo careers. And I just couldn't be happier for them. I think that's so great. Now, if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment with the next song that you want to see me react to, turn on notifications for this channel, subscribe, and check out my complete singing course, Master Your Voice. Enrollment is opening soon. Now, speaking of comments, let's start up my favorite segment of the show. My new favorite. I guess the favorite would be the reaction section, or maybe the outro, because then I'm like done. I'm like, oh, that's over. But my new favorite section is high note, low note, which is where we're going to randomly select 2 comments from my videos. A very positive one that makes me feel great inside, and a very negative one. Let's get started with the high note first. So our high note today comes from Leah Mamuya, who said on my Zayn video, "I loved this. I love Zayn. Wow, I loved this video so much. Phenomenal job." Well, thank you, Leah. I love you. I love Zayn, and I love that video as well. So phenomenal job to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. And today's low note comes from Linnea Lindholm, who said, "A real vocal coach doesn't have to use a keyboard to know what note it is." And I found this so funny when I read it, because I was like, okay, so like, your definition of a real vocal coach is one that has to have perfect pitch? Because that's basically what you're saying. Like, if you hear a note and you automatically what note someone is singing, you got perfect pitch. Or you have such excellent relative pitch that you're able to tell. Now, I will back up Linnea on one point, which is that, when you've been working with people's voices for a while, you can actually kind of hear the trademark sounds of kind of like a voice that's transitioning between different vocal registers. For instance, a lot of guys will transition around an E4 like an E, and that just sounds a little less stable and less full than an E. That's a super easy sound for me to make, whereas E is harder and is even different from that. So with that said, if you kind of know where the transition points are, you can usually tell where a singer is singing. So the general area, which is usually around 4 or 5 notes worth of a span, is what I can tell. But, I don't have perfect pitch, so I'm sorry to let you down, Linnea. Aww. Now, let's jump into the reaction. 13 times Harry Styles' vocals had me shook. Numero uno.
When he opens his arms and holds you close tonight, it just won't feel right, 'cause I can love you more than this, yeah. When he lays you down,
Linnea, I got it on the first try. So that was an F for gonna love you more like this. Now, the thing that I want to point out about that is, like, actually that top note is just a little bit wide, and you can tell that his larynx is a little bit high, but this is a difficult place in a person's voice to sing, so I totally get it.
than this, yeah. When he lays you down, I might just die inside. It just don't feel right, 'cause I can love you more than this. I can love you more than this.
Oh, that's beautiful. Really nice.
Brooklyn saw me, empty avenues, there's no water inside this swimming pool, almost over, that's enough from you. Oh, tell me something I don't already know. Oh, tell me something I don't already know.
So that, oh, was really, really nice. And what I loved about that was like, it looked really passionate, but you could also tell that it was really easy for him to do. And that's really, really important. You can also see like how much he was opening kind of his mouth in order to make that. And a lot of the time that's going to relax things. So then, yeah. Love that guitar too.
Tell me something
and then you drop the octave. Yeah. Love those dropout choruses where it's just a harmony. Yeah.
And she wears a black dress. She is an actress. She's driving. She sits beside me like a silhouette.
So what I find interesting about that, the first time he missed that note, he was just a little bit of flat. What was that? Yeah, it's an F sharp. So he was actually aiming for a G. Haha, Linnea, got you again. But this time, the second time, he actually got it. Let's see if he gets it right this third time.
Hot candy dripping on me till my feet are wet. Now she's all.
Yep, got it that time. Kind of some Zeppelin in there. Yeah. So this is like a very divergent kind of sound is what we would call it. It's like, baby, It's very open, very wide. There's a lot of passion involved in that sound. The larynx is pretty high and pretty tight because everything's so wide. So baby, it sounds really, really cool. Number 4. Oh yeah. So guys, I gotta tell you, that is like that. That's a really tough place for a lot of guys to sing because that's right in the heart of the bridge. That's on an F4. And the thing about that is that it's not necessarily difficult to hit that note once or twice or 3 times if you know what you're doing. But to stay there, like he's like, just like hangs out in that place, that can be so fatiguing. So I really kind of like admire his endurance, his stamina through this spot of his voice.
Sweet creature, running through the garden over nothing but the love, and we're still young. I always think about you and no, we don't speak.
Love that little side lip thing that he does. I always think about you. He always does that like whenever he goes up to those top notes. And I think that that may be a habit, but at the same time, you'll notice that with really good performers, even if those notes are difficult for them, a lot of the time they'll do something weird with their face or like, you know, something very passionate to kind of like let audiences know that they're doing something interesting, and it draws attention to what they're doing. So I don't know if that's what he's doing or not, but I can tell you that this is a world-class front man who knows how to make notes look really exciting. So notice the difference between those two. So the first one's and the second one he goes wider. And he's doing that for the very simple reason that in that first one, then, what is that, a G? Yeah, it's a G. So, got you again, Linnea. Everyone's going to think that I'm obsessed with Linnea. I'm really not. Linnea, I love you. You are awesome. If I'm even saying your name right. Is like really round. And then you go that, and he's doing that because that second note is getting a little bit higher. So on that B, he's up in his second bridge and he needs a little bit more space to give him some support up there. Back to the normal.
No.
kind of front, that kind of country. Yeah, and I like that that little intentional vocal break. There's Zane's over there. Yeah, he's like, oh, he's like, I don't know if I can make it up to that top note, so I'm gonna and out. And honestly, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it just matters that your overall range does not matter. How good you sound when you're singing those notes matters. And in this particular case, in this particular age, in this era of music, we are obsessed with people that can only sing super high. I've said already, I don't know a whole lot about One Direction, but I'm guess that Harry was kind of like one of the middle vocalists in terms of his vocal range. I've seen Zayn's videos, and Zayn can go really, really high. I saw him go up to a lot of G's, I think a lot of G5s. And Harry, so far, he's kind of maxed out around a B as far as I can see. So like right around the C5, right below that, the B4. And what I think is really interesting about that is like, it does take lots of different kinds of voices to make a great sounding collection like this. And he's just another one in the bunch, and sounds awesome.
She's got a family in Carolina, so far away, but she says
a lot of tension in that. He's borrowing a lot of country stuff here.
I met her once and wrote a song about her.
Oh yeah.
I wanna scream, yeah, I wanna shout it out, and I hope she hears me now. She never saw herself as a West Coaster.
I'm laughing at the quote. I literally woke up at 6 a.m. to watch Harry. And you know what? Harry's tired too. You can tell from the sound of his voice. He's a little bit flat. He's a little bit pitchy here today. And his voice hasn't totally woken up yet. For those people that are interested, a lot of what professional vocal coaches do when they're working with a group or a singer that's doing like these really early morning performances is you want to wake up very early. So like if the performance is at 6, you want to wake up at like 4 and do some vocal warm-ups for about 30 to 45 minutes, have something to eat, get your body going, and then do another quick warm-up right before you have to do the show, because that way basically you're like warm, you eat something which takes away some of the warm-up away, and then you warm up again and kind of like add on to your general amount of warm-up, and then by that time, 6 a.m., whatever it happens to be, you are good to go.
Grandma told the towns that swim before
you.
There's not a dream that I think could sink her. How would I tell her that she's all I think of?
Like, don't touch me.
But I guess she just found out. She feels so good.
Yeah, there we go. Notice what he did with that feels so good. See how tight his mouth is as he does it. It feels so good, feels so good. And that's keeping everything in his voice working out pretty well. Because if you drop that, feels so good, it would just be probably pretty weighty and strained. So really small thing to look out for. Yeah.
Nothing left. I used to cry. My inspiration has run dry.
Young Harry. How old
That's
is he
what's
here?
going on.
Is that Simon Cowell?
Nothing's fine, I'm torn.
That was a beautiful example of like listening to a voice changing as you get older. It's like, nothing's right. It's very young. It's nothing's right. And there's just a little bit of thickness. There's a little bit more of that kind of like, you know, literally the voice is getting a couple millimeters thicker, transitioning from a little boy's voice up to a man's voice.
The story of my life, I take her home. I drive all night to keep her warm inside.
Wow.
It's frozen.
Now look at like how big those vowels are on. Frozen.
Nobody can drag me down. Nobody can put it.
That's beautiful.
Nobody
Great
can
picture.
drag me down.
He's definitely better at night.
Nobody can drag me down.
Nice.
Tongue tied like we've never been known, telling those stories we all
Wow, man, his belts are so gonna. We don't say what we really mean. It was just like really, really impactful, but you could also tell that he wasn't really thinking about it too much. Like maybe he was thinking about it, but he wasn't working that hard for it.
She floats through the room on a big balloon. Some say she's such a fake little love isn't made up. No.
I don't know why that was so cool. It seemed
Just
cool.
stop your crying, it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Welcome to the final show.
So that's an F again.
Hope you're wearing your best clothes. You can't drive the door on your way to the sky. You look pretty good down here.
It kind of reminds me of Hosier's approach to his top notes.
Just stop your crying now.
Just like me cry. There's a little bit of that kind of like more twangy kind of sound, like it's a little bit more front in the mouth. And at the same time, he's kind of like leaning up to them with some more of his chest voice. Just like the time would sound really boring. So it was just like the time. Yeah.
We're breaking through the atmosphere. Things are pretty good from here. Remember, everything will be alright.
I love this posture. Just singing it.
We can meet again somewhere far away from here. We don't talk enough. We should open up before it's all too much.
So he had some lessons here, definitely, because when he goes into that we section, you'll notice that his mouth never goes much wider than ah. I'm sorry, I don't know the song, so I'm gonna ruin it, but it's like we shall. He kept it in kind of like this, almost like an oval shape. Just to go back to that so you can see it.
Meet again somewhere far away from here. We don't talk enough. We should open up before it's all too much. Stop your crying, baby. It's a sign of the times. Gotta get away. Oh, we got to get away. We got to get away. We got to. Oh, we got to get away.
So that was a high C right there.
We got to get away. We got to away.
Yeah, you can hear it all here.
We got to away.
Oh, look at that massive.
We got to away.
His poor neck. Well, guys, I am shook. Harry Styles had me shook. I don't know about all 13 times. He had me shook on a few of those. That was really, really cool. What I learned so much about Harry Styles, because I've, not familiar with this performer, not that familiar with One Direction as a whole, but what I'm learning about him is that he's got a really, really cool vocal sound, and this guy loves to hang out around that F. Like that F4 is just like a comfort place in that it sounds like his voice is just really, really cool there. Above that, things start to get a little bit strainier there, and that's when he starts to put in some of the like more kind of like the improvement measures, the austerity measures, so that his voice doesn't get too like too spread or too thin or break or crack or especially go very weighty. Harry Styles obviously, works with some great vocal coaches. I would love to see him eliminate a little bit more of that weight from his voice where he's just where he's pushing quite so much, where I think that there's a difference between pushing for effect, and I think that there's a difference between pushing because you feel like you have to. And I think that on some of these notes, he felt like he just kind of had to, so he did, because he's like, well, I have to get the note. I have to make sure that everybody in the audience is like happy and satisfied and gets their ticket value, or like, you know, for the viewers at home or whatever, is getting their money's worth. I felt like he just kind of had to push for that. So for that reason only, I'm going to give this a performance of 4 out of 5 stars. Even though he's a fantastic performer and I really, really like his songs, I'd love to see a little bit more of what's going to happen as he goes higher in his voice. And my guess is that things would become a lot less comfortable for him. And instead, I'd like to like really help him to thin out some of those places in his voice. So Harry, if you're watching this, I'd love to work with you at any time, because I think that there's some great stuff to work on. You already have such a beautiful voice. It wouldn't be that hard. Now, if you guys found this video helpful, make sure to hit like, comment with the next song that you want to see me react to, turn on notifications, subscribe to this channel, enroll in my complete singing course, Master Your Voice, and I'll catch you later.